Hi, my name is Lindsey, and today I wanted to discuss with you about a topic that you already may be familiar with, and that is celebrity culture. If you live in America, it's a phenomenon that you grew up with, and you don't have to be an expert to talk about celebrities because you're exposed to them constantly, whether it's reading about how much weight Jennifer Lawrence gained, or, while you're in the grocery line at least, or hearing about Zayn leaving One Direction on the radio. It's everywhere, and if we're honest with ourselves, all of us are at least interested in one celebrity, whether if it's a singer, politician, athlete, or movie star. It's a universal behavior. Well, why do we care so much about people who we've never met, and oftentimes about celebrities that don't even know that we exist? I know personally that I have too endorsed myself in this phenomenon. As a kid, I grew up with wide eyes, thriving on sci-fi movies and shows, primarily Star Trek: The Next Generation and the X-Men movie series. They both had a significant impact on me growing up. Now, what do these two things have in common, besides incredible storylines? Both contain a bald-headed leader played by Sir Patrick Stewart. I know that he isn't a Hollywood heartthrob or anything, but for some reason as a child I was fascinated by him because the roles that he played contained characters that were so poised and wise and overall unbelievable leaders. These fictional characters were everything I wanted to be growing up, so I projected that idealization I had for the fictional Picard and Professor X towards Patrick Stewart. The surreal thing is that when my family went to see him when he attended the 2009 Dragon Con, it basically gave me a paradigm shift. This person who I deemed as the perfect leader based on what I saw in the movies was entirely different than what I expected. I mean, in fact, he was very poised, but he was also silly, lighthearted, and very easygoing, which was contrary to what I was originally expecting. The fact that celebrities are more complicated than what they appear to be is evident, but at the time I was 12 and thought celebrities were entirely different beings to normal people, because the way that our public sees celebrities, they almost are treated as gods. In terms of history of modern celebrity culture, it's extremely recent when compared to mankind's entire history. It started mainly in the 1920s when the radio, talking picture, and spectator sports all became popular forms of mass entertainment. When the radio and moving pictures were created, so was pop culture. So people such as Charlie Chaplin and Charles Lindbergh were able to become overnight sensations through the use of these new breakthroughs in communication. Journalists also at the time realized that glamour and sex sells, so journalists started publishing material that involved gossip and scandals, thus creating the tabloids that take up the checkout line of every grocery store. Now, celebrity culture has evolved to accommodate social media. With social media, since we all have an inner stalker, it allows celebrities' audience to follow them in their day-to-day lives on platforms such as Twitter or Tumblr. Now, what made modern celebrity culture to what it is today is based on human instincts. In primates, social hierarchies are based on dominance, whereas humans create their hierarchies through status. One theory by social anthropologist Jamie Tarani states of how the most primitive form of celebrity culture is based on prestige and imitating such prestige. It's basically part of our evolutionary psychology. Male hunters in the past would adopt skills or techniques that the more successful hunter used in order to benefit the community as a whole. But today we use celebrities as a tool for cultural learning. By observing celebrities, we learn what is in or out in our ever-changing culture and use that knowledge to navigate the social scene to acquire more social status. With this, it explains why companies are so willing to pay celebrities an enormous amount of money to endorse their products. People's perceptions of product values can be influenced by these celebrities. For example, Justin Bieber, he got $20 million for advertising nail polish. Beyonce received $50 million for Pepsi, and Michael Jordan received $60 million per year endorsing Nike shoes. From what I can tell, celebrity culture can be harmless. It's actually beneficial if people have a positive role model in their lives. But it can be harmful when admiration is taken to the extreme for both fans and celebrities. For some fans, obsessing over celebrities feels a psychological need and gives them some sort of an identity. There's even now a real psychological disorder name given for these people who indulge themselves in celebrity worship, and it's called celebrity worship syndrome. For these people, their lives center around these celebrities at an unhealthy level, and even though these celebrities hardly know that that person exists, these people believe deeply that these celebrities know them back, and it's kind of sad. Many people themselves strive to become celebrities at any cost, even if that path towards stardom isn't necessarily one of great merit. With social media, or world star hip-hop, a person can obtain their 15 minutes of fame by simply making themselves look foolish. But even though people crave fame because they are lured by the appealing things that come with being celebrities, such as the possible ticket to immortality, the funny thing is that fame is fleeting, and fame doesn't make you worldly known in many places. For example, do you know who this is? No, you probably don't. Well, actually, he's an insanely famous Bollywood actor, and he's been named the second richest actor in the world according to Times of India. In fact, this guy has beaten Hollywood celebrities such as Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks in terms of wealth and status. Yet even though 1 billion people know who he is, you probably didn't. In terms of how fame can actually hurt people placed under the spotlight, many of us are familiar with the idea of child stars gone bad, such as Lindsey Lohan or Amanda Bynes, and basically it's an example of how pressure from the entertainment industry can corrupt children. A primary reason why so many child stars fall into mainly drugs and other bad behavior is because, as clinical psychologist Aileen Kennedy Moore said, childhood is about finding out who you are and being able to relate to others, and those things are harder to learn when you're famous. The amount of public scrutiny makes it hard on kids to do that. They can't mess up. When you're a successful celebrity, you have money, fame, and sometimes special privileges with no consequences. With that, celebrities can be vulnerable to acquire situational narcissism, which describes an inflated sense of entitlement and superiority that comes from being constantly under a spotlight.
I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh, Walt Disney.
This can in turn result in a lack of empathy, meltdowns, and occasionally do stunts for the public's attention when the public starts looking away. Not to mention that celebrities, similarly to what I did with Patrick Stewart, can be seen as only what they present themselves to be in the media, and not as complex human beings. Being a celebrity can be degrading because everybody wants a part of you. It's difficult to include yourself in the day-to-day lives as a normal person, and you have virtually no privacy, as we saw with the celebrity nude links of 2014. Also, celebrity gossip and scandals have crossed over into the main news networks and are valued as legitimate news alongside with politics and world events. News networks, of course, use tabloids to boost their ratings, but by valuing these celebrity stories, it can take away the public's focus from actual news and debates that we should be exposed to.
Not continuing
Congresswoman
Section
Harman,
215
let me interrupt you. Congresswoman, let me interrupt you just for a moment. We've got some breaking news out of Miami. Stand by, if you will. Right now in Miami, Justin Bieber has been arrested on a number of charges.
And if you've heard of the Hunger Games, you can see why our society has parallels to the superficial capital, where we ignore grim social realities in favor for the distractions that celebrities provide us. Now the question stands, what can we do with our deep fixation? I could lecture you about what and what not to do and who and not to idolize, but I'll summarize it like this. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with having a positive role model to look up to, but as a society, we should be aware of where our focus is at and be aware of the people that we put on the pedestals, because the amount of attention we give to certain people tells us what we value in our culture.